Hello, Lucy fans. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is KJ Ricardo, and today's episode is going to be looking at Lucille Ball. This is going to be a biography and tribute to the wonderful and amazing comedian. So last week I did a biography on Vivian Vance for her birthday. That's exactly what I'm doing this week. Lucille Ball's birthday is this upcoming Sunday, August 6th. Don't forget it. And so I just wanted to make a tribute to her. So we love Lucy. She is best remembered as Lucy Ricardo on I Love Lucy, but there was so much more to her. She had a long career as an actress, and so we're just going to look at her biography. So sit back and relax and enjoy. So Lucille Ball was born Lucille Desiree Ball on August 6, 1911, to Henry Ball and Desiree Dee Hunt. And she passed away on April 26, 1989. We best know her as Lucy Ricardo on I Love Lucy, but she was also in The Lucy Show in the 1960s, as well as Here's Lucy, which starred her two children, Lucy and Desi Jr. So, Lucille Ball was born in Jamestown, New York. It's in western New York, a very small town, and she was born in this brown house located in Jamestown. She had a very simple, basic life. Here's a photograph of her when she was 2 years old. Very cute. Look at that bow. Such a cute bow. But it became very sad. Her life turned very sad when she was 3.5. Her father unfortunately died from typhoid fever when he was 27 years old. So she lost her father at a very young age, didn't remember him during her life. And so her family moved to Celeron, New York, which is just the next town over, so it's not that far. But she lived with her grandparents. Here's a photograph of her when she was 4 years old with her Aunt Lola. Very cute, still wearing the bows. And so here's her childhood home. This is the house that she grew up in Celeron, New York. It was located right near the Celeron Park. Now, Lucy loved this park. Back then, it was the best amusement area. It had vaudeville concerts, theater shows, roller coasters, bandstands, everything. It was the place to be, and this is where Lucy first became exposed to entertainment. As we know now, it's called the Lucille Ball Memorial Park, and it's where the Scary Lucy was. And now they have a much more beautiful statue of her, and you can go visit that park anytime you want. So, Lucy's grandfather, Fred Daddy Hunt, she called him Daddy because he was the father figure in her life. Things turned sad when, in 1927, when her grandfather was involved in a legal argument when a neighborhood boy was accidentally shot and paralyzed by someone target shooting in the Hunt's yard. And so her grandfather got in trouble for it, and it devastated Lucy into her teenage years. So here is Lucy as a teenager, and she really became involved with a boy, Johnny DeVita. She was only 14 at the time, and her mother didn't like it at all and sent her to New York to a drama school. Here's a photo with her friend, Marion Strong, who is a character on I Love Lucy, if you remember. She's in it a few episodes. So she attended this drama school, and she was not successful. Her teacher said that she will never be a success. She's not good. But Lucy was very determined. She returned to New York and became a model. She was a model for Hattie Carnegie, or Haiti, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But she was a fashion model for a few years until she suffered from arthritis, really bad arthritis. And she had to return home, and she had to take 2 years off from work because she had severe arthritis, which sounds so painful. So that was a big break in her career. But then when she recovered, she returned to working as a model, and she got a gig as a Chesterfield cigarette girl model. Also, she became in Broadway a little bit, but her big break was going to Hollywood as part of the movie Roman Scandals. Here's a photograph of her in 1933, blonde hair, and this starred Eddie Cantor and Gloria Stewart. So she was in Hollywood now, and she would continue in the 1930s with RKO. She was in Three Little Pigskins, a comedy short with the Three Stooges, as well as Room Service, which is a comedy movie with the Marx Brothers. I definitely recommend watching it. She also did Roberta with Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, and she did many other movies, and she also did Stage Door with Ginger Rogers. Now, Ginger Rogers and Lucille Ball were actually distant maternal cousins, which is kind of cool and interesting. But Ginger Rogers' mother helped Lucy so much during her early career. She made sure producers took care of her, so a lot of credit goes to Ginger's mom. Lucy continued to be in Hollywood enjoying everything, but she became a B-movie actress. She was called the Queen of the Bees. So she was in these movies that weren't big, successful movies, but she was like the star of those movies, so she was a star. So for example, Five Came Back is a movie that she did, but it's a B movie, so it wasn't a hit, but she was working at least. Eventually, in the late 30s, she turned to radio. Radio was becoming really big. And so she was on the Phil Baker Show and the Wonder Show, which introduced her to Gail Gordon, who she would act and spend time with for the rest of her career, basically. She was with Gail Gordon in a lot of stuff. During this time in the 30s, she was involved in a relationship with director Alexander Hall. They were together for 5 years, so a really long time. But they never got married, and it's a good thing because eventually she was cast in Too Many Girls. She met this other guy in the movie in 1940 on the set. I think his name is Desi Arnaz, but I'm not so sure. No, it's definitely Desi Arnaz. They immediately were connected together, and they started a relationship, but they weren't sure if they should get married, and they said, no, we're not going to get married, and then a week later they eloped and got married. So it's a really funny story, but they were immediately in love with each other. They truly did love each other so much during the early days of their marriage. They had so much fun together. They went to Palm Springs. They had their house with a pool where people came over and just had pool parties. So the early days of their relationship was true bliss. Of course, it doesn't always last. And she did file for divorce in 1944, but then decided to, reconnect. And then she was cast in the radio show My Favorite Husband in 1948, and this would eventually become I Love Lucy. It was a radio show, and they wanted to turn it into a TV show, and Lucille Ball said, okay, yeah, under one condition, I want Desi to be my husband on the show. And the producer said no. It's not realistic for an American woman to be married to a Cuba. It's not realistic. And she said, yes, it is, because it's my life. So they had to go on vaudeville tours around the country to show people, and people loved it. And so that kind of proved to the producers to do this show. And they filmed the pilot the girls went to go to a nightclub, and this became the first episode of I Love Lucy in 1951. This was the start of I Love Lucy. Thank goodness the producers loved it and agreed to have Desi Arnaz be on the show. We get so many iconic moments on I Love Lucy. Lucille Ball was a pioneer for a lot. She was the first woman to be pregnant on television, even though they couldn't say the word pregnant. And we just get so many comedic moments. During this time, Lucy and Desi were in 2 movies, The Long Long Trailer, as well as Forever Darling. So they did those movies while they were a part of I Love Lucy. But towards the end of the 1950s, things were getting really rocky in their relationship. They had 2 children who they were very devoted to, Lucy Arnaz and Desi Arnaz Jr. They seemed like the perfect family, but of course, it's not. And Lucy filed for divorce in 1960. She filed papers saying that their marriage is not like it is on TV. And they got a divorce. Lucy bought out Desi's shares of Desilu Studios, and she became the president of Desilu Studios. So she became the first woman to run her own production studio, which is fantastic. And then in 1961, she met Gary Morton, who is involved in show business. She met him and immediately was hooked to him. And he was a comic, so their comedic styles kind of came together and they got married. During the 1960s, during her marriage with Gary Morton, she became a part of the show The Lucy Show. This was another success, not as successful as I Love Lucy, but she was on the show with Vivian Vance, Gail Gordon, so she was with him again, and it's a funny show too, not as funny as I Love Lucy, but still good. And then she continued to do other movies like Yours, Mine, and Ours with Henry Fonda. And then in the 1970s, she did her show, Here's Lucy. Now this show was another hit. It starred her 2 children, Lucy Arnaz and Desi Arnaz Jr., so it's great to have them on there. And then she continued to do other movies like Mame in 1974. It gets mixed reviews. People aren't sure because Lucille Ball's singing, but I think it's good. And then she did a TV special called Lucy Calls the President, and then a drama called Stone Pillow, and this was the last movie that she appeared in. Her final sitcom show, Life with Lucy, was in 1986, and it wasn't successful at all. And this was like her last attempt to be on TV. But then her last public appearance was in 1989 at the Academy Awards. She presented with Bob Hope, and she got a standing ovation, which is so sweet. And then this is the last public appearance with her because unfortunately in 1989, April 26, 1989, Lucille Ball passed away from complications of heart surgery. She had an aneurysm, and so she had heart surgery, and her second aortic ruptured, and so she passed away on April 26, 1989, and everyone was just devastated at that. People loved Lucy and missed her at that moment. So Lucille Ball died, but it's been years since she's died, but people still love her. And so what I did on Instagram was I wanted to get some feedback and see why people loved her. And I got all kinds of comments, like her love for Desi and her children. She was a great wife and mother and came up with the idea of the I, Lucy show to keep her family together. Another comment said, my favorite thing about Lucille Ball is she always makes me laugh and makes me so happy. I love listening to Lucille on the radio and watching her TV shows and movies. So that's a really sweet comment. And then another comment I got was, my favorite thing about Lucille Ball is that she really helped me through a lot and she can brighten anyone's day. She's so beautiful, which is so true. She really makes anyone laugh. And then another comment I got is, Lucy is an inspiration to me. Although she was told she had no talent, she never gave up. She worked hard and became one of the most funny, famous, and independent women on earth. And I couldn't agree more. I did a similar thing on Facebook. I asked people for comments on a photo, and I got 200 comments. It's too many to show, but that just shows how many people love Lucille Ball. People said she's beautiful, gorgeous, stunning, but she's also has a timeless comedic style about her. How she was devoted to her children, how she was devoted to her family, her mother, but also her life in Jamestown, New York. She never forgot where she came from, and so that's a lot of the comments. So that is really amazing to hear. I shared what other people said, but I just want to say a few words about what Lucille Ball means to me. She's an amazing person. I have loved growing up watching I Love Lucy. Lucille Ball was humble. She just has this timeless comedy about her. And I just wanted to do a tribute video for her. So that's it. That's all I have for you this week. What was your favorite fact about her? Or what is your favorite thing about Lucille Ball? Tell me in a comment and I look forward to reading those. Thanks for watching and happy birthday, Lucille Ball. Thanks for watching. Bye.